Hello, Verify. Ever since we have a final evaluation right on Tuesday, I know most people are very busy this weekend. Ever since you also have your evaluation right in your elementary school, how about let's spend around 20 minutes reviewing everything that we need for our test? Okay, 20 minutes, 25 on top. Let's count 3, 2, 1, go. So, chapter 5 had verb PP, right? So something had happened before the other thing happened. So that's what we said. So something had happened, right? Something uh had verb PP verb PP means the thing happened first, and the keyword is when or before, when or before or even after works, right? Before something happened. Verb ed, verb past, verb ed, verb past, verb ed, verb past, right? So, something had happened. The tsunami had hit the coast before before they left, right? And there had been a warning on the TV and the radio before the tsunami hit. And of course, had you heard of something? Had you heard of Atlantis before you read the story? And had you heard of Plato before you heard Atlantis? And yes, about Atlantis, Poseidon had turned the island into a paradise before he left, and the people had behaved and protected the city before Poseidon left, right? So, how about in chapter 6? Have has been, verb ing, something you have been doing for many years, and something uh, people have been doing for a while. So, have has been doing, have has been doing, have has been verb ing, something starting from the past and you are still doing it right now. So keywords for and since, right? For since, quite easy. And chapter 7, of course, we have um, myself, yourself, himself, herself, right? Um, but I'm sorry, I skipped. Chapter 6, we also have, yes, what have you been doing? How long have you been doing something? Um, Angelo and Scarlett have been painting the set for 3 days, and they have been painting the set for their musical. And the musical is actually called The Wiz. The Wiz has been playing on Broadway since 1975, and Angelo's sister has been dancing for many years. And Angelo has been practicing, rehearsing the song called a Mean Old Lion. Good. So, chapter 7, myself, yourself, herself, himself, ourselves, themselves. Okay. Right. And for the second part, we compare the adverbs. So carefully, more carefully, patiently, more patiently, nicely, more nicely, but we need to pay attention to well and badly and fast. So well, better. We don't say more well, we say better, right? Badly, we don't say more badly. Well, what is it? Worse, right? Worse. And fast, we don't say fastly, we actually say faster. Fast, faster. Okay, good. So compare the adverbs. It's quite easy for you. When you say then for adverb, you use adverb comparative. comparative adverbs. And chapter 8, we've been talking about the passive voice, but it happened in the first. So passive voice happened in the first, happened in the past. So we go for rules like was, were, verb PP, was, were, verb PP, right? Right. So was, were, verb PP. And something were done. The videos were uploaded. The post was liked at that time, okay? And the painting was stolen by Giovanni Rocca. And the painting was painted by Pavani, right, in 1930. So it happened in the first, in the past. And who sent the text? Who was the text sent by, right? And why did somebody change the password? Why was the password changed? Okay. Who was the story written by? Uh, who was the painting stolen by? Why was the password changed? And of course, in chapter 9, we try to review everything, but the very uh, magnificent kind of idea that we try to practice is prefer and rather, right? Prefer and rather. On this page, we have the rule for prefer and rather. Prefer none to none. Prefer to do something than do the other thing. And would you rather, I would rather do something than do the other thing. And for questions, both prefer and rather share were, right? Or. So I believe we have the rule right here. Uh, present perfect subject verb, right? And we try to jump to the rule for rather and prefer later. So how about before we do everything, to, let's jump to Nick Delosio and Matty Bradshaw. Sorry, it's not page 93. I believe we can find the page. Okay, so Nick Delosio and Matty Bradshaw. So let's try to read it and find out. So what can Nick's app do? What does Nick's app do? So what does it do? So can you find the answer? So what does the app do? So the app actually, what does it do? It actually makes long stories, not long news story short enough. So people don't need to read the whole article, right? So where is the answer that you can find for what does the app do? So it makes new story short enough so we can decide which story we prefer without having to read the whole story, the whole article, right? So when did Nick write his first app? He made his first app when he was only 12 years old, right? And how many people downloaded Nick's successful app? The app was so successful, it was downloaded by more than a million people, which means more than a million people downloaded Nick's app, right? So let's jump to Matty Bradshaw. So how old was Matty Bradshaw when she became when she became a successful entrepreneur and a millionaire? She became a millionaire when she was 13, only 13 years old, right? And for Matty Bradshaw, how did she make decorations for her locker? How did she make mm, decorations for her locker? Let's check out. So she tried to use. Uh, she decided to make some jewelry, right, with bottle caps, right? So she used. Where can you find the answer? She used she started making decorations for the locker using what? Recycled bottle caps and magnets, right? And then later, after she became successful, even her own sister, tried to help her, right? How did her sister, Margaret, try to help her? Her sister Margaret helped her design and paint some of the other bottle caps, right? Great. So, can we jump to here? Okay, great. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Prefer, and rather, we have two forms of prefer, right? Prefer none to none. Prefer something to something. She prefers coffee to tea. She prefers fruit to vegetables. And Rufus prefers books to screens. And how about prefer to do, then do something? Prefer to do something, then do something. If it's a verb, we use prefer to do, then do the other thing. She prefers to read, then write. She prefers to stay at home than go to the market. And my mom prefers to shop online than go to a Costco, right? For question, we use or. So do you prefer something or something? Do you prefer to stay at home or go to a market? Do you prefer coffee or tea? So when you answer, just choose the thing you like better in the front side. I prefer to stay at home, then go to the market. She prefers coffee to tea, right? How about rather? Rather, we use then. Would you rather do something sorry, that's question. I would rather do something than the other thing. She would rather read than write. And he would rather stay at home than go to the market. And my mom would rather shop online than go to the Costco, right? And just like prefer, rather, the question we use or. Would you rather stay at home or go to the market? I would rather stay at home than go to the market. That's the way you answer. And yes. So rather, prefer, rather. Try to be specific about the way you try to make sentences for rather or prefer. Now, let's check out some sentences from chapter 5 to chapter 9. Let's have an overall kind of a review. Okay, so had, verb PP, when something happened. So for questions like what had you done before your father came home last night? How do you answer? The way you ask, the way you answer, right? So what had you done before your father came home? I had done something. Of course, you can change the sentences like I had watched TV, I had finished my dinner, I had fallen asleep, I had left the house before my father came home, or I had done my homework before my father came home last night, right? Good. How about what have you been doing for many years? I have been doing something. I have been learning English for many years. I have been learning dancing for many years. I have been learning how to play the piano for 8 years, right? I have been doing something. Would you rather climb a mountain or read a book on the weekend? On weekends. So, would you rather do this or do that? This is or. So do A or do B. So just choose one to answer. Okay. I would rather do A than do B on weekends. You can say, I would rather climb a mountain than read a book on weekends. Or you can say, I would rather read a book than climb a mountain on the weekends. Right? Good. So let's practice about would and prefer. Sorry, rather and prefer. Prefer, rather. So I would read a book, watch a movie. So when you see would, is it prefer or rather? Of course, I would rather read a book than watch a movie, right? So remember to put then if you use rather. Remember to put to or to verb than verb for prefer, right? So Yasmin prefer this story a traditional fairy tale. Story, none. Fairy tale, none. So none, none. Prefer none to none, right? So Yasmin prefers this story to a traditional fairy tale. It's super easy for you, right? So would. When you say would again, so is it would prefer or would rather? Of course, would rather, right? So Scarlett would rather turn the pages, then click on a screen, which means that she prefers e-readers. She would rather turn the page. Oh, sorry, she prefers books. She would rather turn the books than click on the screen. She prefers books to e-readers. Right. So let's check out some sentences from chapter 5 to chapter 9 to see if you can remember about what we had learned in chapter 5, from chapter 5 to chapter 9. So something are viewed on smartphones. What kind of things can be viewed on smartphones? So let's check out the box. So what kind of things which are nouns in the box? How many nouns do we have? Paradise, none, right? Apply, verb. Behave, verb. Website, none. Manage, verb. Realize, verb. Prefer, verb. Manage, verb. Manage again, I'm sorry. Entrepreneur, none. Apply, verb. Achieve, verb. Successful, adjective. Memory, none. Okay, so lots of paradise or lots of website or lots of memory or lots of entrepreneurs are viewed on smartphones. Of course, smartphones are websites, right? But it's lots of many of them, so lots of websites, right? So the boy so badly when he doesn't like what someone is saying. He so badly. Badly is an adverb. So of course you need a verb right here, right? So the boy so badly. We need verb. So how many verbs do we have right here? Behave, we have manage, we have prefer, we have realize, we have manage again, we have apply, we have achieve, and these are the verbs. So which verb do we choose? So badly. When you don't like when you don't like what someone is saying, so the boy, of course, behave, right? Behave badly. But this is only one boy, so he, she, it, a name, verb, SESIS. The boy behaves badly when he doesn't like what someone is saying. And Poseidon turn this island. He used his power to change this island into a what? A something, a something. We need none. Paradise, website, or entrepreneur, or memory. We use website already. So paradise, entrepreneur, memory. He changed his island into a paradise. Super easy, right? Good. Right. So to for the job, just click the link and complete this form, and then you may try to wait for an interview. So to for a job, for when you say for, of course you apply for it, right? To apply for the job, just try to click the link and complete the form, and to apply, right? So Scholar to click on the screen, then turn the pages. We see to, and then to do something, then do the other thing. To do something, then do the other thing. Scholar prefer, right? Prefer to, then do. Prefer to verb, then verb. Prefer to do something, then do the other thing. But remember, it's scholar is scholar of the girl. So he, she, it, the name prefers, right? Prefers. And Cindy Schumacher opened a new school for young something, for people. For what kind of people? Of course, there's only one last verb. Sorry, one last noun we can use. Ever since you don't open a school for memory, do you? So she opened a new school for young entrepreneurs. More than one person, entrepreneurs. So Scott enjoyed drawing. He understood he liked working in 3D as well. He understood, he what? Realized, right? Ever since is enjoyed and he liked, so he realized, right? He realized he liked working in 3D as well. He also liked in working in 3D. Okay, so you can think about the goals you can want to, the goals, the things you want to do, right? The things you want to achieve, achieve. And the most company starts with a small idea. The most company is a none. So before none, you use an adjective. The only adjective we have right here, successful. The most successful company starts with a small idea. Great. And Cindy never liked the way her company was managed, right? Was, were, verb PP. Was, were, verb PP. People manage a company. The company was managed by some kind of boss, right? So about some sentences with mistakes. Who was the painting stealing by? Where's the mistake? Who was the painting stolen by? Right? Stolen by. And the Wizard of Oz has playing on Broadway since 1975. The Wizard of Oz has been playing on Broadway since 1975. And the pictures have taken by people all over the world. So was, were, verb PP. People take pictures, and the pictures were taken by people all over the world. Or you can say the pictures are taken by people. Even you can try to change it like the pictures had been taken by people all over the world. They're all possible, or even will be taken. Okay, are taken, were taken, have been taken, will be taken, are being taken. There are different tenses for passive voice too. So I prefer art than other subjects. Prefer art. Art is a noun. Subject, none. Prefer A to B. Prefer none to none. I prefer art to other subject, right? So my friend enjoyed herself. My friends, more than one friend. So many of my friends enjoyed what? Themselves. Very good. And the pictures were what? Uploaded. in the past 2 days, right? And he has left the house when the tsunami hit. When something happened. Two past events. Two things from the past. He his house when the tsunami the coast. So which one happened the first? The first thing happened had verb be. The second thing happened verb be verb past. So he had left his house when the tsunami hit the coast. Okay, right. So we have been practiced a song called I'm a mean old lion. Have has been verb ing, right? So we have been practicing a song called I'm a mean old lion. And oh, sorry, just told you the answer, right? So I think you behave then. Then when you see then, do we say more badly then? No, we don't. We say I think you behave worse than I do. When you see then, the adverb change it to comparative adverb. So Scott would rather work in an office or work in a store. Would rather than. Would rather than. So Scott would rather work in an office than work in a store. Maybe he doesn't like meeting people. I don't know. Right. A lot of movies were made in our movie studio every year. Every in on at we use present simple. So it's fact 这边讲述的是事实，所以不用 were made. It's actually are made. A lot of movies are made in our studio every year. So that's it. Everyone did a great job. So I know you're extremely busy. That's why that's all I'm asking to review shortly, briefly, and I'll be seeing you on Tuesday. Thank you. Bye bye.